The book of Hebrews states that the Ark of the Covenant contained the 2 tablets of the covenant, Aaron's rod, and a jar of manna. However, Chronicles mentions that only the tablets of the covenant were inside the Arkansas. Which account is true? In this investigation, I aim to explore what was truly inside the Ark of the Covenant.
According to the account in Exodus, it is written, "When the Lord finished speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him the 2 tablets of the testimony, the stone tablets inscribed by the finger of God." This is described in Exodus chapter 31, where Moses receives the tablets of the covenant. And in the very next chapter, Exodus chapter 32, he breaks them. This happened because the Israelites, having grown impatient with Moses' delay in coming down from the mountain, made and worshipped a golden calf. Moses, having no choice, seeks God's guidance again, and God commands him to cut new stones and ascend Mount Sinai with them. Moses follows God's instructions, goes up the mountain, and spends 40 days and 40 nights without food or water, receiving new tablets. This event is detailed in Exodus chapter 34. In contrast, the command to make the Ark of the Covenant from acacia wood is found in Exodus chapter 25.
The Bible's narrative is not always in chronological order. However, if we assume the sequence in Exodus is chronological, then the Ark of the Covenant might have been constructed before Moses received the tablets of the covenant. Alternatively, Exodus 25 might only record God's instruction to make the ark, with the actual construction occurring later.
Manna was a miraculous food that God sent down from heaven, to serve as sustenance for the Israelites during their time in the wilderness. It was described as a light, wafer-like substance that tasted like honey. Each morning, manna would descend from the sky, and the Israelites only needed to gather as much as they required. However, since no manna fell on the Sabbath, they had to collect twice the amount on the day before. Some people gathered more, while others collected less, yet there was neither excess nor insufficiency, allowing everyone to consume exactly what they needed without leftovers. Those who tried to save manna for the next day found that it developed a foul smell and became inedible by morning. Manna continued to fall daily for 40 years until the Israelites entered the Promised Land, sustaining their lives throughout this period.
Manna had a peculiar property: it would spoil and become inedible by the following morning. Nevertheless, on the Sabbath, the manna collected the day before remained fit for consumption.
Aaron's rod is described not in Exodus, but in the book of Numbers. When the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, God became angry, and those who followed Korah were killed. Following this, God commanded that the 12 tribes bring their rods, each inscribed with the name of its respective leader. They did as the Lord instructed, and God said, "The rod of the man I choose will sprout." Aaron's rod then sprouted. In this way, God demonstrated his chosen relationship with Israel. And by seeing Aaron's rod, the people ceased their grumbling, preventing further deaths among the Israelites.
While Israel is composed of 12 tribes, including the Levites would make it 13. In this instance, God's command likely counted Ephraim and Manasseh as Joseph, and then included the tribe of Levi.
The Ark of the Covenant first appears as the Ark of the Testimony in Exodus chapter 16. The detailed specifications for the ark that Moses was instructed to place in the tabernacle are given in Exodus chapter 25. According to this, the ark was made of acacia wood. Acacia grows quickly, is easy to work with, and was likely a readily available material in the wilderness. This ark was constructed after the Israelites crossed the Sea of Reeds. Given the sequence of events, manna fell first, and the detailed instructions for the ark were provided after the Israelites were no longer struggling with food shortages. Whether the ark mentioned in Exodus chapter 16 is the same as the one commanded to be built in Exodus chapter 25 is uncertain. However, Exodus chapter 16:33 mentions, "Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it. Place it before the Lord to be kept for your generations." And in verse 34, it states, "It was placed before the Ark of the Testimony."
An omer is approximately 2.3 liters, so assuming this, the jar's size could be estimated to be around the size of a 2-liter bottle, depending on the volume of the manna. But if manna spoils and emits a foul odor after just one night, how could it be preserved to show future generations?
In 2 Chronicles chapter 5:10, it is written, "There was nothing in the ark except the 2 tablets." On the other hand, in the New Testament book of Hebrews, it says, "In the ark were the golden urn holding the manna, Aaron's rod that budded, and the tablets of the covenant." This has sparked considerable debate among scholars, with some asserting the primacy of the New Testament account because it is in the New Testament. Both Chronicles and Hebrews agree that the 2 tablets of the covenant were inside. The issue concerns the golden urn holding manna and Aaron's rod that budded.
Regarding manna, Exodus 16 verse 34 provides a clue, stating, "Place it before the ark of the testimony." The command to construct the ark comes later in Exodus 25, indicating a non-chronological sequence. Biblical scholars agree that the Bible's narrative is not always in strict chronological order. Therefore, the golden jar containing manna was placed before the Ark of the Covenant in the tabernacle before the ark itself was constructed. When the Lord instructed the 12 tribes of Israel to bring their rods before him, he said, "The rod of the man I choose will sprout." The next day, Moses entered the tent and found that only Aaron's rod had sprouted, budded, and produced almonds. This clarified the authority of Aaron and the Levites and served as a sign for those who obey the Lord's law. Numbers 17:10 states, "Put Aaron's rod back in front of the ark of the testimony, to be kept as a sign to the rebellious." This indicates that, like the golden jar of manna, Aaron's rod was also placed in front of the Ark of the Covenant.
While Aaron's rod and the jar of manna were usually placed in front of the Ark of the Covenant, the 2 tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments were always stored inside the Arkansas. Given that the tabernacle was constantly moving in the wilderness, it is believed that the rod and jar were placed inside the ark during transport. Thus, during travel, the ark contained the 2 tablets, Aaron's rod, and the jar of manna. Once the journey ended and the holy place and most holy place were set up, the rod and jar were placed in front of the ark again. For those who saw the ark in the most holy place, it would appear that only the tablets were inside. Only priests could make such observations. This concludes the examination of the contents of the Ark of the Covenant. Thank you for watching until the end. If you found this interesting, please subscribe to our channel.